right, it looks
Let's
like
see
we're
if it
live.
works.
It looks like we are live. It
Oh my
says
God.
we're live. Are we on speaker view?
No.
I can't tell.
Speaker
Live.
view.
It looks like we're on speaker view.
We are, I just did it.
Oh, how about I turn off this volume
I
here?
think that we are live. We're
Official-
live. Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's bedtime stories. Damn it, and I'm in bed.
Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Time, people. It's time for the show.
I'm loving this robe you have on, Red. I meant to tell you that earlier, but I really love it. I really need to step up my sleepwear game.
You do. You do. I've got a lot of sleepwear. But this is special. This came from my aunt that recently passed, and my aunt was huge on loungewear. So this is a nightgown, darling. This is the robe that accompanies the nightgown in case I get a little chilly.
Nightgowns. Oh my God. I grew up wearing only nightgowns. And you know what I used to wear to sleep a lot was slips.
Oh, slips. You know what? I don't know if I've ever owned a slip.
Really?
Maybe a skirt one because my mother made me, but come on. What do I need that for? Slips.
I used to own a lot of slips. You know, my great grandmother, when she first came here from Puerto Rico, it was like during the Great Depression, and she came to New York and was working in those factories making lingerie and women's lingerie. So
that's a reason.
Plenty of slips growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact.
Fun facts about us. Well, everyone, welcome to this very exciting episode of Bedtime Stories. My name is Red, and
I'm Sin Rose, and we are so excited to have you here tonight. And I'm a little anxious and nervous.
We are both a little anxious and nervous, and we're only talking to each other.
No, and this is like this Zoom conversation or this conversation on the internet that Red and I are having is actually how we even came up with bedtime stories in this manner. It was just me and her in a video chat.
So it's true.
Why am I nervous?
That's how Bedtime Stories was born.
It is how Bedtime Stories was born. So thank you everybody for joining us. Like if you have some questions, ask us in the chat.
In the chat. Don't text me, please. I can only do with so many things.
Right.
And let me see how my lips look. Okay, great. And let's see. I mean, Sin, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you
tonight? I'm all right. I am okay. I have a little list here that I'm pulling up.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes, I have a list.
See, Red is way prepared. I'm prepared emotionally.
Well, that's where the balance comes.
I didn't say I was prepared like with a list.
That is where the balance comes.
But I do have some things in mind. I think that it's important for us to both answer the questions that we always ask. So we know why we're here. Mm-hmm. So we ain't going to answer that one. But I do want to ask, what turned you out, Red? When did you first go out to a club and what turned you out?
Oh, my goodness. I wasn't even ready for that one. Let me see. What turned me out? Okay. Back in the day, my good friends at the time, Tony, Tiffany, and Chris, my ex Chris, they went to the club and we were all very good friends. And they had cassette tapes with Mr. Tyrone Francis play. And I would hear those tapes and I enjoyed the music. And Tony and Tiffany said, you know, you really need to come to this club. You would fit right into this club. And eventually I said, okay, let's go. I mean, it's not like they had to, you know, pull my arm. And I went to the club and we got up at 4 a.m. And if I'm not, let me see now, we got up at 4 a.m. and I'm pretty sure we went to Bridge Street Loft to hear Herb Martin.
Okay.
And that turned me out. He played Harvest for the World. And I will never forget seeing my friend that has children dancing. and they were like, give thanks for your children. And I was just touched. And I remember leaning against the wall and crying. And this guy came over and said, are you okay? And the girl next to him said, and I didn't know either one of them, she said, she's fine, leave her alone. And I was like, that right there was a moment. And that whole night, that whole scenario, that whole everything turned me out. And I started going to Mars and to other places. And that was that.
All right.
That was that.
So what year do you think that was?
Let's see. I'm gonna go with if Shelter, gosh damn, Shelter is 30 years old.
Right.
So
and you Shelter 101.
Yeah, I was at Shelter. I was at Shelter from when it opened because I came right after Garage closed when the people were sad. And I was like, I don't know why they're sad because I never got to go. So whatever year that, I don't remember. I really don't remember. Almost 30 years ago. No, it's more than 30 years ago though, because I went to Afterlife and I did all those other things too. So I can't tell you the year, but it was a long time ago.
Okay.
I can tell you it was the 90s, not the 80s.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. For me, it was definitely the 80s. Like the first club I ever went to was the Underground. My sister took me to the Underground, but I was like 13. I had no fucking business in the club. And then I didn't go out again until like I was like 15. At that point, I was like in high school and I had a girlfriend, Damaris, and her mom was mad cool and I could spend the night at her house and we would be at Heartthrob and listening to Louis and with the buttons and the whole shit. And then when I was like still like 15-ish, like in that era of like right after that, I started going out to clubs more regularly with like my friends from my neighborhood, and my father would be like, let me go to the club if like, he'd be like, okay, who you going with? And I named girls and he'd be like, okay, is Khalif and all of them gonna be back with you? Cause we all grew up in the same neighborhood. And shout out to Khalif, who I know is here. He's my oldest friend. And because of him, I was able to go out to mad clubs because my father would let me. Nice. So, I mean, the first thing that I think turned me out though was like my sister had this tape that was from the Garage and it had that song, Donnie, the It. Mm-hmm. That song? Mm-hmm. That one, right? And then I went to some club and I want to say it was like the original Sound Factory down on like 26th Street or whatever, 20 something street down there. And I heard that shit in a system. And when I heard that song in a system, it changed my fucking perception of like what I could feel from music. And so yeah. So that happened.
Okay. Turned out.
Lost and turned out.
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to let you know right now. I came here with an actual story. I have an actual story to tell.
I know you do, and I want to hear it.
But before I tell my story, I think if we're going to ask each other the same questions that we ask all the guests, then you have to say, why do you think you're here?
I think I'm here because what we're doing here with Bedtime Stories is important. It's important for us to talk more about like who we are and how we've impacted other people's lives and how the music has impacted us and how this community is special and how, you know, how we're all interrelated and how, you know, I really don't think there's like one role that's more important than another in this respect, you know, with regard to like the experiences, sure, with regard to like a party, you have to have the DJ, you have to have performers or whatever it is, right? And you have to have the club and all of that stuff. But with regard to like the experiences, I think it's important for us to share more of that, because especially at a time like now when we're like a little bit disconnected from each other because we're
Mhm.
forced to be disconnected from each other. I think now more than ever, it's important for us to connect with each other in those moments, because you can really still feel it and live it and realize how much of a part of you it has, how much it's influenced you and how much it's now a part of you. So that's why I think I'm here.
Okay, great. I like it.
And what
I'm
about
just
you?
I'm just gonna go ahead and answer. I think I am here because besides being the number one star in the land,
She
I
the shit. She the shit.
I think I am here because for almost 20 years I've been giving events. I've met a lot of people along the way. Got to go some places and do some things, and I worked hard to get my name out there as a promoter. And it was never about me getting my name out there. It was about doing good promotion. And I think, I've earned that. And I always make jokes because I love Robbie. Robbie is my dear friend. And I'm always like, besides Robbie, he's my Marsha.
Right.
Like,
I
yeah.
love you too.
So, but I think, yeah, and also like you said, this bedtime stories and what's happened here and the feedback we've gotten off of it, off of just an idea that came up late at night, and giving acknowledgement to all the people that we do work with and promote and who have been such influences in this industry, in this business, and some of them in the world. It's great. So good for us. And I think that's why I'm here tonight. That's why we thought we should talk to each other.
I
We
think
earned,
so.
we earned this.
We did earn it. For me, the promotion part, like, it's so crazy because, you know, not many people know I'm a felon, right? So I came out of prison and I needed to figure out a way to like work. And I was already like kind of um hustling in that, like, I was working, but I needed extra money. So I was like not hustling like drugs or anything like that, but just hustling to try and make extra money. And Ray gave me, of course, he was like, yeah, come do the door, come do the door, come do the door, right? Come work with me, come help me out with this party or whatever. And so, it was never ever like, okay, this is going to be my career. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be this promoter. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be this person that does events. It kind of just stumbled on me, I think, in that, like, I just started doing things that I loved more. Like, okay, well, if I could do this and I love it and I can make a little money to
Mhm.
survive, and at the same time, I don't have to send my daughter to a babysitter every day. I could pick her up from school and cook dinner with her. That is really why this became my career, is more
Nice.
than anything.
For me, I was like, I had a day job and I was like, I don't want to have a day job if I don't have to. And then it got good enough where I was like, guess what? I have a night job. And my night job includes whiskey and
And
dancing,
friendship,
sometimes breakfast,
music, and shenanigans. Oh my
friends.
God, the best life.
Yeah.
So blessed.
So we've been lucky. We've been lucky.
Yeah, I'm
And
super grateful. Like, it's like, it's been a long time coming. I probably did the first party with Ray probably like 97 or something like that. And, then here I am, 2020, and I've been very lucky to like work with some of the best there are,
mhm,
and be in the same room with them, and supporting them and helping other young artists get exposure and all kinds of stuff that, like, just uplifts my spirit.
All kinds of stuff that, people sometimes don't pay attention to and may not be privy to, but we know what we are doing and what goes on in the background.
Yeah.
It's not always that easy. And for me, I have the most fun hosting an event that is not my own, because at that point I get to host the event. I get to socialize with people. I get to meet and greet, and I enjoy all that part. It's good, and it's how you get to know people, and know more about people. And I appreciate that. I appreciate knowing a lot of people too. I don't mind at all.
Yeah, I agree. I tell my DJ friends, I'll be like, yo, I would have never want to be a DJ because I don't want to have to think, 3 songs ahead and hear somebody tell me about what they had for dinner last night while I'm trying to pay attention to the crowd. And like, it's too much. I would much rather be able to be in the party and interacting with people and making sure that they're happy and enjoying myself, and doing, even if that's work, like where you're actually working and you know not just hosting.
Right.
I'm okay with it. I would rather do that than other roles.
Well, networking is a job too.
It sure is.
Networking is a job too. Even if there's whiskey in your hand, it's a job, because you need to remember. It's important to remember people's names if you can. It's important to remember to let people know that they matter. So that's a skill. And also, it's not for everyone, and
No,
everyone shouldn't try it.
no. And it's like the door position, right? Like, so one of the things that I prided myself in doing doors was like, if you were on the list and I saw your name, I want to know already who you are, to let you in, where I don't have to look at the list and you don't have to say, oh, I'm such and such, I'm on the guest list, right? So that part allowed me to meet a lot of people, and I think it is important. It's how you feel, so yeah, it's not for everybody to be at the door and to, but I really cherish the fact that I was able to do it, and I'm so happy,
Well, that's great.
because I built some real friendships and relationships and family.
Hi, hello,
Hello,
sis.
hello,
Right,
hello,
right.
sister. Right, right. That part.
That part. Yep.
So who has questions? I want to see some questions in the chat because I know Red got stories, and I probably
Well,
have a few stories.
I've got a question here. Mike Marquez wants to know, what is the best sound systems that we have heard? I'm going to go ahead, Mike, and tell you, for me, I think I answered this a couple of weeks ago. Cielo, or maybe it's just the best club, because sound, Cielo. Um, Trying to think now.
Cielo definitely had an exceptional sound system. I'll tell you a place that had a really great sound system that we used to do the Funk Box party there. And we only lasted like 3 months before they closed down. And it was this spot called The Lively. And it was right in the meatpacking district, also downstairs.
Yeah, I came.
Yep.
I don't remember the system though, so that says much about
Good
those nights.
Because that place was made for like live performance and different kinds of things, and they really put a lot of money into that system in there, just like in Cielo.
Twilo had a crazy system.
Twilo, which is the original Sound Factory, and that is what I was gonna say. That place, the sound system in there turned me out. Hello. So
okay, well, I think I'll commence with my story now.
Okay, do it.
I have built my story with a little show and tell. And I am telling my story for anyone that just simply doesn't have a story that involves me, right? So I'm here to tell my own story in my own words on what actually went down. So I'm going to begin. Once upon a time, there's a guy named Andre Soul. And Andre Soul, because he saw me promoting, invited me to promote his event, which was the CHMW Classics and House Music Weekend, which involved a dance contest. And so that happened. What's up, Andre? The second year of that event, we included the freestyle dance-off. And that had judges like Ejo Wilson, Marjorie, Voodoo Ray, Khalif. What's up, Khalif? And some other people. And it turned out we had it in a small, and oh, DJ Penglo was there. We had it in a small space, but the space had a window that you could, if you wanted to, you could just step out the actual window over a little ledge. And the dancers danced so much and it was so full that they just stepped over the ledge and danced into the street. And it was actually that was a legendary moment. It was great. And we did that for 4 years. I think it may have gone on a little longer, but that happened. Now, the story continues when there's a guy in New York City. Andre lives in Miami. His name is Santiago. Santiago used to do an event called Brooklyn Mecca with our DJ friend Sabine. Hey, Sabine, love you, girl. And Santiago, in his doing this, decided that he wanted to begin having dance showcases. And because of my experience with the other dance contests and things that he was aware of, Santiago called on me to get involved. And this was his first dance showcase with Brooklyn Mecca, something he did on his own with other people, but he called me in for some idea that he had. And that idea turned out to be House Dance International. Now, House Dance International was to be a worldwide dance competition and international. Let's see how many people we can get to come from how many places. But Santiago was not that sort of promoter. By that time, I was. And our very first meeting about this concept where he presented it was myself, Santiago, and Sabine. At that time, Sabine said, I'm going to pass on this. This is not for me, all with all positive, well wishes. And I said, you know what? I like this idea. I think I'm in. So Santiago was the initial and the main funder of the event as well. Let's just, So with that, we started working on it. And since Sabine didn't want to be involved, I had an idea. And I said, you know what, Santiago, because I am at that point, I had stopped doing a lot of footwork promotions as far as carrying around flyers and things like that. Right. I was doing more the computer, and like at that point it was MySpace, and I was building an email list and things like that.
Yeah.
And because I had a lot of experience in radio and TV broadcasts, I sort of had visions of how this could be promoted. And so I started doing that.
And you already connected to the party Soulgasm at that point, and it was already, and so you already had a database of folks.
Correct. Sounds like you know the story.
I do. I was there, honey. Okay, go ahead.
So from that, I had an idea, and I said, Santiago, I have a suggestion for a person who'd be good for like the footwork promotion, and that is Conrad Rochester, because Conrad has a closer connection to the dancers than I do, but I can bring in other people, and maybe that would be good balance. So we together called Conrad in, and we had a meeting, and he liked the idea, and so the rest is history. And we put this event together, and we did it. And so House Dance International year one, I'm just going to quickly just show this part. This page here, you probably can't see it because of the glare, but it says Santiago is the executive director, Red is the co-director, and Conrad is the co-director. And it's got a little description of each of us from the first international. And, just to give you an idea of where we were, Ejo was the master of ceremonies. Our judges were Cricket, Junius Brickhouse, Archie Burnett, Marjorie Smart, and Conrad. We had passes with levels on depending on what you thought you wanted to do, because it involved workshops, it involved seeing films, it involved going to parties, and you didn't have to sign up for all of that. And then the major thing was the competition. And after our first year, which was super successful, and when I tell you in the first year, we had people that came from India and
Yeah, all over
Indiana.
the world.
India and Indiana. I myself was like, I can't believe these people came this far based on something we did. It was super humbling and super exciting. And from that first year, we were in various magazines, The Village Voice, Straight No Chaser, Dance Spirit, and a bunch of other things. And with that, after our first year, we also created the housedancers.com because we decided that we should take all of the dancers that participated and make a website just for them and about them. So we had hundreds of dancers on this website that simply featured them, dancing, backgrounds, whatever it was. And it was also very successful. And from there, when it came down to the working things, this was a distribution of our work and what we were to do. I was co-organizing, I was putting together a party, I was to secure record label sponsors, event sponsors, corporate sponsors, things like that. Conrad was doing similar things, but he was working more in the dance showcase and general promotion as well as sponsorship. Now, I say all that to say, I believe we got to year 4, if I'm not mistaken. And oh, I had many, many, many business cards that say that I am the co-director. So what had happened was, because we were bringing in sponsorship, and Santiago was a very fair person because he made us full, excuse me?
Partners.
Full partners, even though he was the major funder. I did put in some funding on our second year because I wanted to feel like I had an in, but yeah, he was the major, part of that. And I think on our 4th year, when we did our sponsorship and stuff, what happened was I brought in some sponsorship, and Santiago made it very clear that anyone in or outside of HDI that brought in sponsorship, which would mean you, Cynthia, Doris that's listening now, Mike Marquez, anybody that could bring in sponsors for us would get 10% of whatever sponsorship they brought in. So it's a motivation. And I brought in some sponsorship. So when it was all said and done for that year, and we were getting whatever we were going to get for that year, because Conrad and I got the same thing.
Right.
I got a little bit more than him, not much, but a little bit more. And he was not happy about it. And
But you worked for it.
I worked for it. I bought in the sponsorship for it. Wasn't anything that anybody else could not have done, but I just happened to be the one that did it for that year.
That did it.
And he was upset. And he decided that he was going to break off from the event and create his own event. And he wanted me to go with him. Now, as personal things go, I was closer with Conrad than I was to Santiago. So he expected that once he made this announcement and he came and presented it to me, I would just drop everything and go with him. And I was like, why would I leave this? We don't have the funding and all of that stuff to put this together. We went from having our finals at Greenhouse, a shelter on Varick Street, to Alvin Ailey, to Harlem Stage. Each year we got bigger and bigger and better, to where we ended up at, I think it was City College Stage, where we were in a theater with seats. I mean, it was amazing. Right. So and also I'm not mad. So I have no good reason that I should drop such a great thing that we're doing and have put together to go anywhere. I have no problems here. And so what happened was that, I guess a few months later, I really can't say the timeline of that part, but I can tell you it wasn't long after. The next thing I know, we also had a Facebook page for this, and the Facebook page, that was my main thing. We had 10,000 people on the Facebook page, and my first alert was me getting a message from Facebook saying that I was not the owner of our Facebook page, even though I created the page, so it was actually in my pages.
Right.
And I was like, what? So that's when I got alerted and I was like, what's going on here? And I started looking into things and started, investigating and found out that someone else had trademarked our name, which was strange.
Right.
Now, for those that may say, well, you should have known better and you should have trademarked your name, you can miss me with all that. Because
Right.
I would expect the shady business to come from someone in a different land, not the people that you brought in and were in it
And
together,
that you've known and worked with and broke bread with.
not for no reason. And so that turned into a whole thing where I had a whole back and forth with Facebook and back and forth and back and forth. Where I sent Facebook, I have it right here, 75 pages of bank receipts, of flyers, of we had a House Dance International website at the time that had us down as the creators of the website,
Right.
of just receipts, pages and pages and pages. And they said, all of that is nice, but the trademark is here. And so they took that page away, they took it down and they handed it over to the other person, which was like, wow. So next thing we know, we're being told we can't use the name because the name has been trademarked. And that was very, very upsetting, very, just a lot of things. But besides that, it was unnecessary. And so I went to that other person and I said, can't you just make your own event? You could do all of it. Like, we don't own the people that are involved. You can have all the same people. You can have the same judges.
After we built the shit up, now you want to fucking take it?
You can have the same DJs. You can use the same spaces. You can do everything. You can do exactly what was done. Just change the name. And they refused and they refused and they refused. And they were like, no, it's mine now. It's like, wow, that's fucked up. That is fucked up. And it kind of was like a kick in the stomach to myself and Santiago. And we just kind of were like, we don't want to start from scratch. And it was, so when people asked me about it, I'm like, I had not too long ago, somebody that was involved and had done some workshops there. We were talking about it. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, do you have the stuff that you speak of, these pages? And I was like, yeah, you want to see it? I can send it to you. Like, sure, I do. But it let me know that even some of the people that were there from day one do not or did not really know how this went down. Right. And that was a little bit hurtful to me, because I was like, well, I'm not a liar, but also a little like, but you were there from day one. You saw us there. You saw me there. I'm not making this up. Right. And so it was fucked up. And, as time went on, I realized that person had burned a lot of bridges. And I won't go into where or who or what, but.
Well, I'll say.
They did.
That same person did some bullshit with Funkbox. And thank God that we had the infrastructure to be able to handle that. Honestly. And I'll just say that.
Okay.
And as
and
much
when you say they did that, you mean?
I mean that they fucking went and trademarked the fucking name Funkbox NYC. Unbeknownst to the actual partners.
I like that the people on the chat are saying we need names. I have said the name multiple times, guys. Stay with me, pay attention. I've said the name multiple times. It's not a secret.
It's not a secret. Ask around. I'm sure you can find out.
Hey, anybody that's paying attention, go ahead, type it in the chat. But you know what?
No, but it's not a bashing session either for that person.
No, it's not at all meant to be a bashing session. So,
it's not that. But in reality,
but if anybody knows, feel free to type it in the chat. I did a little research, and it's only slander if it's a lie.
Right. So, ask if it's a lie. Yeah, it's not slander.
Yeah, it's true. And again, I have receipts. So that was the story I wanted to tell. And I wanted to tell it because it's my story to tell. And because I want people to have the real story. I was also, I was a little hurt that some of the people who were involved after we left chose to stay involved. But everybody's grown, and I'm not mad at them. I was hurt by it, but we all got to do what we got to do. Business is business.
Yeah.
So, and that is that.
Well, that's a great story, and I hope y'all got those jewels right there from Red. Okay, hello. Brooklyn Iconic just said it in the chat if you don't know who it is. All right. So now I have some questions for you in the chat. Conqueso would like to know, what is your favorite house music festival to attend?
Mm, well, you know, wow. Well, I used to love the WMC, but then I went elsewhere. And I gotta say, for the places I've been for a festival, and this makes me a little sad because I heard some news about it earlier and broke into tears. I had a ball when I went to Croatia, and that wasn't long ago, and they just had an earthquake, and it's bad. And that was one of my favorite festivals to go to. It was because everything was outside, everything was on the beach. There was after hours on the beach. It was just out of control. I had a ball, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. I wanted to go to Croatia. I actually planned on going to Sunset Beach. And I hadn't been, but I would have to say WMC because that's the one that I attended the most.
Hmm.
I've gone there year after year. For me, as a single mom, it was always like a treat to be able to go to Miami, which is like a second home at this point. Um, and to have like a working vacation where I could get away and get some sunshine right before it was like right before the summer would hit. It was like right at the end of spring, right where it's hot in Miami, and I could come back and be like with a tan right as spring is popping here in New
Right.
York and be like, yes bitches, I'm already started. And it was just like a recharge also to my spirit, and like, all right, it's time to get shit popping, summertime, let's
Right.
go, like, and to be able to do that where, like, I didn't make money every year, but I did at least break even
Hmm.
most years, and for me to just be able to do that as a mom who's single,
Hmm.
valuable. So I have to say WMC.
Okay. Yeah, I had some great times at WMC, especially on just a smaller daytime hanging out when you're hungover and you're like, we're just gonna go to this hotel and sit in the front of it and drink Bloody Marys and carry on
We
all
had a
day
lot
while
of
there's a DJ
shenanigans.
playing. That was like we're gonna order all the food and just yeah, act the fool.
We had
That
good
was great.
times in Miami,
Oh,
child.
oh, a lot of good times,
Yeah.
a lot of antics, a lot of yeah.
So Trey Love,
Hey
Tracy
girl, hey.
would like to know, what was the most ridiculous fight?
The most ridiculous fight?
Yeah, in the clubs.
Huh.
I can say at the originals, and this was like rather recently, the most ridiculous fight was some people started fighting, and they're fighting in like the DJ booth and all of this, and I'm at the door and it was at Cielo and it was mad packed, like 600 people or some shit there that night, so we was way extra packed, and I'm at the door, and if you remember, the entrance to Cielo was a doorway, and you could go through the hallway to go
Yep.
out the main entrance, or you could go straight and there was another door right there. So security grabbed the guy and they're like pushing him past the cashier, and I'm at the cashier's desk, and somehow my arm got caught up in there and I'm getting pushed outside with the dude, and then it's like D Nice and Clark Kent and everybody's outside and we're like, oh my God. And yeah, so I would say that was the just stupidest shit. I think any fucking fight in the club is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I'm gonna say it was also at Cielo, actually. Now that I think of it was at Cielo.
yeah.
And I will say that Quentin Harris was playing. So
I know this. This was a
someone was in the booth with him and they were like his, protector. And a friend of mine, their jacket was already in the booth, and the person did not want to allow my friend to go in and get their jacket. And it became a problem. And my friend finally, I don't remember all the details because I only saw it like come tumbling out of the booth. Finally got in to get the jacket, and this person, they just somehow hit each other. They hit each other, and I was like, "What?" And they came tumbling out of the booth, which was crazy. And I was like, what is happening right now? Security came and one was escorted out, and it was a ridiculous fight. It was a ridiculous fight.
My friend Latheria just reminded me about her and me and Khalif and my boy Alex. You know Alex. We were outside of Canal Street one night. Fucking dude, Khalif trying to be the fucking political mayor. Yo, calm down. And dude, because he was wilding, starts flipping out. Me and Latheria got an umbrella. We start fighting out in the street. Oh, good times.
Good, great times. Well, look, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What are the 3 best excuses that you've heard while working at the door?
Okay, one, shout out to my boy Hanif. He was like, "You gonna give me a discount because I know I'm too sexy." I was like, "Nigga, please." um, and I love him, and I probably actually still gave him a discount just because he
sure
had
you did.
to say that shit. I don't know about 3. Like, there's always.
Give me one more.
Okay. I've heard so many crazy shit. I like, my funnest memory is like when we were doing Funk Box at Sullivan Room. Like, first of all, the winters there would be brutal, like, because you were upstairs in that hallway and there was like a door. So it'd be cold. So the air would just come in, and me and Shaq would have like this fucking space heater with a blanket over the table just so we could keep our feet warm and our coats and shit. And people would come up, and I'll never forget one night this dude came up and he was like, and we was like, what? Are you talking English? He was like, what time do today? We were like, oh, $15. We were like, yo, it's $15. He's like, I swear to you that we fucking fell out at that door for the rest of the night. Like, if I go up to him right now and go, no.
See, that's a different kind of stuff.
But he actually paid the $15 and went in. So it wasn't like, but.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Like,
I have got another question for you.
Okay.
I won't ask you 3, but tell me 2 of your top DJs that you do not work with.
That I don't work with. That I've never worked with, or that I
mean, we work with everybody. We work with everyone, so that would be hard.
Okay, I'll say Spinna. I love the way Spinna plays. He's one of my favorites, and I don't do anything regularly with him, although I have worked with him on multiple occasions. He really is a real DJ. Man, there's so many names that I could say, you know what I'm saying? And it's really hard because there's not anybody like that I think of higher than another necessarily, but you're saying top, right?
Just your top, whatever comes off the top of your head for your top.
I mean,
it's been a pleasure watching.
There's certain DJs that I love that are underrated for whatever reasons, right? But I love the way they play. Timmy Richardson is one of those people.
Okay.
He's probably in my top 10 of DJs of all time because I could dance and I get what I need. And it's always unexpected. And it's a journey. And it's beautiful. That, right? Is he the easiest person to work with? No, but I love him. Happy birthday, Tim.
We love you. Right? We love you.
Right? But so, I love Louis. I love like all the the usual suspects. Stretch Armstrong is one of my favorites. I would say like, I love Boris. Fuck that.
No.
Hello, you know this. DJ Boris. I love that shit. Hard.
Well, on that note, I could name Boris as one of my top DJs when it comes to that kind of sound. And going back to the Winter Music Conference, Boris is somebody that I would break off from my whole group and be like, I don't know if any of you want to come, but I'm going. I've planned a whole thing around this. I'm going to Boris. I'm going to Boris with friends. I've gone by myself. I would go to Boris and oh, I mean,
I know, you know me and you down for Boris. Like
yeah,
we would it.
yeah.
I'm saying all of those names, but I do like my favorites, of course, are Tony Touch and Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. All right. So since y'all said that in the chat, I'm gonna just say that one time. Bow. It's my brothers.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question for you. REDness. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I hope.
Okay. I would like to know, um, like one fun situation that you can share that was like something that was super memorable for you in the club.
For me.
Yeah, for you. Something fun that happened to you.
Something fun that happened to me in the club.
Or around club culture, you know. In the club could mean like at the diner after.
Oh, I know. Fun. Okay, back at 39th Street Shelter, first 39th Street. That's back when we used to change our clothes when the party was over. And the bathroom would be a whole production at the end of the party.
Right.
And we all going in there and taking turns and blah, blah, blah. And I remember we were trying to get out of the club, and me and my great friend Sean, Sean is gay, and
John.
the stalls were full, and we were like, come on, we're just going in together. We're going in together. And we were fucked up, and we ended up both just butt naked in the stall, cackling, crying, laughing, trying to change our clothes while all the other stores were full, people outside the store, and we are just crying, laughing, trying to get it together. So that was fun.
So I have a question from the chat, from Tracy again. She wants to know how we deal with sexism in nightlife.
I don't want to sound ignorant. I don't feel like I've experienced it, and maybe it's because of the position that I've been in, where when I was doing Soulgasm, Brian's the DJ, Ejo's, I'm the promoter, me and Ejo are the host or whatever. So there was no somebody, there was never any like competition or somebody to overlook me for or anything like that. I don't know if I ever felt that myself. I hear about it, and I think it may happen to, I know some other promoters that have had DJs come at them sideways. For me, I did not have that happen. I feel like I've gotten the respect, and I just haven't had it. And maybe it's also, not to take away from anybody, so don't take this wrong, people, but it could also just be in my presentation. That's all I could say about that.
I have to say that the same thing, right? So like, yes, dealing with men as a woman in this society, right? You have to learn how to navigate that as a woman, and how to be able to command respect and to demand, that they treat you in a certain kind of way. And yes, sometimes that means, and it's not just in this industry, it's in life. That means that sometimes you may have to like stroke some egos or come from a different place, right? To be able to be heard and understood. I think that applies to not just this industry, but also to every aspect of our life, because we live in a social culture. It's like that's just socially how we interact because of what we've been learned, taught. However, I'm grateful because I've been able to command that level of respect, and I don't really like get stepped to in a different kind of way from dudes. you know.
I just have, and they, I mean,
Not
I've
to say
been,
that it's never happened, because it has, but
mhm.
honestly, the last time that it happened, the first moment that I opened my mouth and I was like, yo, everybody that was around was like, yo, yeah, yeah, and I didn't have to do anything else
There you go.
because I'm already at that place where people, thank goodness, have a certain level of regard for me, and they know that I'm not going to just step to somebody sideways or be like, so, you know, I think there's that, and yeah, I try to be diplomatic.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah, I
try to
just
be
come in. I'm like,
present.
business is business. Like, are we doing this or not? Here's the presentation. Do you want to play? Could you play? Would you play?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think
Things
that,
like that. You call me, you ask me to promote, don't come at me sideways. And yeah, and also, I mean, the sidebar jokey joke is that many people over the years have thought I was a lesbian. I'm not, guys, not so far. So, just
I
hey,
get that too.
hello, hello.
All right, I got a question from Be Polite that says, can you give us insight on cultivating a following of younger dancers in club heads? So can you give us an insight on cultivating younger dancers and club heads?
Well, I can say for myself, I admit freely, I lucked out. I got very lucky because the parties that I did, the first party I did was inherited from Jesus. It was hosted by Ejo. So I got to meet a lot of people that way.
Yeah.
A lot of the dancers who then brought younger dancers and things like that, who then, though, when I did break off and do my own thing, followed me to the next place. So I was lucky in that aspect. But when it goes back to even something like House Dance International, for a whole bunch of people that I did not know, um, because a lot of that was done via internet, it made it a little bit, I think, easier to go to certain websites and target certain groups and certain people and certain whatever and reach out to them and start building a relationship like that. And you invite the right people and you invite the right dancers in.
Yeah.
I'm a dancer. Because I always say any one of us that are at the party is a dancer. I've always been offended when people say, oh, but there's a dancers list. We're all dancers. So I don't know about that. But
Right.
I've always had a thing with that. But because we all put in the work. But it's just like it's like influencers now. It's
Yeah.
like what you would call an influencer. You invite the right people. Now, at this point, me and you are influencers. So I'm told. Um,
Right.
so I'm
Let you
told.
tell
I'm
it.
not calling myself that, guys. Okay. But and you just started from there, and then you include people, and then you pay attention, and you do the research, and you talk to people.
Yeah, for me, in terms of cultivating anybody, in
And you
terms
make people feel welcome. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
dancers, club heads, whatever. I think that like what is necessary is just being open to them,
Mhm.
communicate. Like when you see somebody new that looks like they're having a good time, strike up conversation,
Exactly.
talk to each other, you know, make them feel welcome.
Let them know they belong
Let
here.
them know that this is the good place, that they feel good and they could be good and free and dance and enjoy themselves and be in a safe space as long as they respect other people's safety. You know, like I think that's all that's necessary. Like,
Yeah.
be free. We respect you as long as you respect us.
And remember, don't just never forget, because we were once them. We were
Yeah,
once them, and somebody let us know that, hey, it's okay for you to be here. So don't forget that. This is our space and this is our blah blah blah. That's stop it. Stop it. None of us own a club.
I would like to know from you, Red, what do you think about house cliquishness? Because I mean,
Ooh,
all of
that's a great
us
question.
have been, put in positions where they say, oh, they're part of that house clique or this house clique or that, or they're clicky over there or this and that and that. What are your feelings about that?
First, I want the people to know this is not a set up question. None of these questions are set up.
No, I'm totally, that's some shit I just came
No,
up.
I love it. I'm so glad you asked that question. So let me tell you what I think. I hear this often, and people say they're part of that clique, and oh, that's that clique, and oh, that's that blah blah blah. And I've actually looked up the word to see what it means. Clique means other people that have the same, that like the same things that you like, that have like-minded ideas, have the same interests as you. That's your clique. If you are all Yankees fans, that's your fucking clique. If you all like ice skating, then that's a clique that you hang out with. If you go to the roller skating, you used to go to skate key with your crew, that's your skate clique. I never understood why people try to make the word clique a bad thing. And, I've heard lots of different reasons of why people may not like it in the club. I've never agreed with anything because people say, oh, it's because they're not part of that clique. I don't believe that because the people who say it I don't believe they want it to be part of the clique that I'm in at all. Right. So I never, ever understood why the word was used as a negative thing. You know what my clique is? My clique is, first of all, it's the people I hang out with. It's the people I talk to on a Wednesday night when there is no party. But it's also when I walk in the door of the club, it's where I know to go put my jacket and my bag, or it's where I go to, hey, here's my drink here, whatever. It's the people that I hang out with. Right. All the people who have a problem with the clique are in a clique. If you are house music, that's the big picture of the clique. If you came to Soulgasm every Wednesday night, that's a smaller part of the bigger clique. If you've been going to shelter for fucking 30 years, guess what? You're in a cultish clique.
Clique, right?
It's a cultish clique, and I'm part of it. So I've never understood why people had an issue with cliques. Your clique is your crew, and it's it's the people that got you.
I think it comes though from like the place.
But we're all in the same clique at the end of the day.
No, but I think it's from a place of either where they feel excluded or they feel judged. Right. And I think that's where that conversation comes from. I really do. And for me, like, it always saddens me, right? Because I got love for everybody across the board. I try to show everybody the same amount of love. If you rub me the wrong way, I'll still show you love, but de lejito, like they say, like a little far away.
Right.
But the truth of it is, for me, it's like, there's enough for everybody. There's enough love for everybody. There's enough music for everybody. There's enough money for everybody. Okay. There's enough people for everybody. There's enough DJs for everybody. There's enough everything for everybody.
And there's enough friends and associates for everybody.
Absolutely. So,
and I always felt like people thought that me and my clique were doing something that they thought we were doing, if that makes sense. Where it's like me and Vicky could be over in the corner and look like this, and people just somehow think that we're talking about whatever, and we're like, no, bitch, because when I go home, I'm gonna fry some chicken and I'm blah blah blah, and they're like, there they are being shady, and that's not what was happening. So we become
barbecue mother. That's it.
You may never lie. So I think it's funny. I think it's funny, but I also think it's unnecessary. And it's I could say at the last shelter, what was happening, there's a crew over on one corner, which is, I name names because it's a good thing. It's Val, it's Tina Marie, and it's, I can't think of her name right now, but that was their clique. Right. They're on the opposite corner.
Right.
And
the thing is that they're not like our enemies.
No. The beauty, we did it every week for a long time. Right. We come with our separate drinks and our fun or whatever, and then we meet in the middle. Right. They're right here. We'd meet in the middle. We'd swap drinks. Hey, girl, take a shot over to your corner. I'm coming over to your corner to hang out with y'all. We go back and forth. We have jokes. We have whatever, and we built a whole friendship and stuff over that. Like, and I named us all the what did I call us? The BGCs, the Bad Girls Club. And I was like, where's the rest of the BGCs? We're all down, because we're all down with the same thing at the end of the day,
It's shenanigans.
So that's what I think about a clip. So I have a question for you. Okay. The wildest thing that you may have seen at a club and or party.
I've seen quite a few wild things.
Pick one.
I want to say probably the wildest thing was like, so from time to time, from time to time at Cielo, right, they would bring me in to do other nights other than Funk Box or other parties that we were already associated in. So for a while, I would come in and do like Monday nights, or sometimes they would have me sub in and come in on a Friday, or like a night that like wasn't our night, but they needed somebody that was experienced and could handle the door. And I don't remember what night of the week this was, but it was like one of those. Do you remember the horse meat disco parties?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by the name alone, horse meat disco.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Everybody was in there with no shirt and poom poom shorts. They had their fans out. They had muscles. They were
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. And let me tell you, there was like some fellatio happening
Well, well,
to the
well.
point where they were
That's a
like,
word I haven't heard in a long time.
get these people out of here. Yeah,
Fellatio.
so probably that was the wildest fellatio in Cielo. I mean,
Well,
there were certain similar situations that have occurred in other places over the years. We won't get into all of that. We live in the present.
well, I'm going to piggyback off that question. What's the wildest thing that you have done at a club or a party
Oh, damn.
that you can share?
I can share it all. I'm grown. Um, the wildest thing. I'm really quite reserved.
She's going down a list in her head, y'all.
I really am reserved. I try to maintain composure in the streets. I don't be wilding out too tough. You know, I really don't. I don't be wilding out too tough. I
No, it's
think
fine.
that like even in my most intoxicated moments, I still have a level of balance that like I'm sure that if people took in some of the things that I took in, they would not be handling themselves nearly as well as I do. So
Okay. All right. Well, Des Uno has questions.
okay, Tazuno.
Des Uno, he always comes in with his questions real fast now.
Right.
Hold on, Des. I'm trying to get to them all. He wants to know what do I'm going to say we, Des. This is going to be for both of us. What do we look for when we book the DJs? Have we been satisfied with the choices? And if not, how did you handle it? I'm gonna answer that first.
Okay.
What do I look for when I book DJs? Back at Soulgasm, when I got the Soulgasm Lounge, honestly, I didn't look for anything. I let everybody play. I let everybody have their 3 hours. And if you were good, we invited you back. And if you weren't, you had your 3 hours. When I started doing other things and the business part mattered a little bit more and there's more money involved and things like that, is you're looking for a good sound. You're looking for somebody that can make the crowd happy, who knows what they're doing, who isn't a diva, and just kind of what you really want is a DJ that's happy to be there. Not grateful, don't get me wrong, but it's just happy to be playing music. So for me, that would be that. Now, when it didn't work out, you just don't get asked back. You have to kind of deal with that because there's a certain point where you can't just pull the plug. You can't just stop the party. And so you just kind of, I've had moments where it was like sitting on the side, like, I want this to end. But it just kind of is what it is. Doing this virtual party that I've been doing since COVID, one of the greatest things has been, I've had a couple of DJs that came in, we do sound checks every time, and they came on and something went wrong, something wasn't right. And I've actually been able to give people a do-over because they had a technical issue and I didn't have to feel stressed about it or like, no, you can't come back here because we lost something because of that. So it's been good in that aspect. So what about you?
That's awesome. I didn't even think about that in terms of the do-over part. But that is true,
And I'm
especially
gonna Alex Tech, if you're listening, you're getting a do-over.
I mean, especially considering like, all of us were thrust into this and we were forced to kind of make things work with whatever equipment we had and not necessarily, you may not necessarily have the ability to buy all the latest equipment to be able to put on a stream to a certain level. So for me, what I look for in DJs when I'm booking them, first thing is, do I like the way they play?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, do I like the way they fucking play?
Mm-hmm.
I need to know that they potentially could rock the crowd that I'm going to have there. The second part of it is, yes, are they easy to work with? I love someone who makes things easier and not more difficult because they're trying to be a diva. I understand that there is a certain level and standard of treatment with regard to talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to treat everybody on that level. I don't treat anybody less than somebody else. If you're hired as talent, you're getting treated as talent, right? So, um, and that means getting paid a fair wage. That means getting, drink tickets, being taken care of or accommodated with regard to, like, whatever requests there are. So somebody that makes that easy is always more pleasurable than somebody that makes that difficult, because there's so many people that make that easy.
Right.
And I like to work with people that give me joy, right? So joy in music, joy in the experience of dealing with them. Um, then also on that list is their level of experience with regard to, like, depending on the booking. Some people fit a certain look for a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't fit that look for a certain thing, but may fit something else. So there's that part too. Like, and everything is not for everybody in that instance. There may be enough for everybody, but everything ain't for everybody.
Right.
You know. Um, so yeah, I would say above all those three things, like, yeah, you got to be able to make me dance and make me know that you can rock a crowd, or that you can pay attention to a room. Really, more than anything, can you pay attention to the room and know that if they're feeling this, that you could fit that bill? you know I need a real DJ. Hello.
Mm.
With
All
a
right,
smile.
Desuno, you have a lot of questions. I'm going to choose one, and then hopefully we get to the others. Actually, no, I'm gonna give you two right now, Des, because I see what you're
I'm
doing.
working with you too, Salah. Shout out to Salah Nancy. I'm just saying it. Okay.
What's up, Salah? Des says, what do you look for when scouting a venue? And I'm gonna let Des answer his own question, because he put, what do you look for when scouting a venue? Sound system, floor, space. Yes, Des, that is the answer. That is exactly the answer.
How about also the management's desire for us to be in that space, and their desire to work with us?
Right.
Build something that is going to be dynamic and help their space just as much as we are in their space. So it has to be like a give and take.
And
The places that I've ever worked for worked in are places that they care about us and we care about them.
So I love that you said that, because one of the questions that I actually made a note of to ask you was, who was the best club manager that you worked with?
There are a lot that I really love, but I'm gonna say at Come On Everybody, which I call Come On Everybody. But at Come On Everybody,
Shin Rose.
Rich Medina and I started the home party there about 7 years ago. And when we first started that party there, it was still like, when we decided we were going to do the party there, it was still under construction. And when we first started the party there, they had concrete floors. And then for a little while, they had some issue with odor, like some mold in the walls or some shit. And like every single thing, like, so 3 months into doing the party, we were doing a monthly. 3 months into doing the party, I walked into the place and they had wood floors. And I was like, oh my God, you really love us. You understand what we need. You know what I'm saying? And but really every step of the way, every concern that we had with them, they addressed it, they helped us, we helped them, you know, even down to like New Year's. On New Year's, they would come hire us every year to do the home party there, even though that was our monthly party. Every New Year's, they would hire us and we would be able to have guests at a party for New Year's where we're not controlling the door, but we have our rate already.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful relationship with a club owner.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
they want to make their money. They're $75, $100. We don't want to charge our people $75, $100, but you know, so we could give a discount, whatever.
Right.
And our friends and our people still could come, and we could still even have some guests, and we still get whatever we want, and they get what they want, and that is just fucking beautiful.
Okay. And Desuno, your final question. I'm gonna do this one because he wants to know, Red, when are you going to do a set on a Friday night show? For those who don't,
How about her
those who
birthday?
don't know, I've been playing a little bit of music. Shout out to Conqueso.
Hey,
And,
queso.
and Des is one of the few people that I've shared my mix or mixes with. And Des, I had some things I needed to concentrate on, and now I can get back to that. So let's just say soon. It won't be anything major. It won't be anything fancy, but I think I will do it because why not?
I think you should. We've been talking about this actually for a few years. We talked about you doing a set with various other people. I think it would be real nice.
Mm-hmm. So
Mhm.
I'll do it. I'll get it together and do
Right. Guess who won't be doing a set?
it. Guess who'll be dancing behind me with whiskey?
You can keep that set. You can keep that set. I'll be twirling with the baby powder.
Well, I have a question for you from me. So what's the most exciting thing that you could possibly, that you think, if you can even answer this, that this whole, not bedtime stories, but this whole thing has brought to you?
You know, I feel like I'm one of the most luckiest people in the world. I really do. I feel so blessed and grateful for the life that I live. Like I can't even describe it. You know, like um, you know, I get to work with and have fun with some of the most interesting folks. You know, I'm in some of the most interesting places. I have great times. It's all very like carefree, this lifestyle that I have in many ways, you know, and I know that that shit ain't regular.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that shit ain't regular, and I recognize that it ain't regular. And the fact that like the truth of the matter is that like the thing that gives me the most joy is that like I have all these wonderful relationships with so many wide variety of people. Like for
Mm-hmm.
a while in the pandemic, I was taking like I fell off, but and I should get back to it. But for a while in the pandemic, I was taken to like every couple of days, I would send out 5 texts to different people in my phone and just be like, hey, I was thinking about you, sending you love. That is all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because of, you know, because there's so many people that I could do that for. And, you know, even when the pandemic first started, I thought, oh my God, because I know so many people, there's going to be so many people that I know that are not going to make it through this. But then I thought, but yo, you know so many people. And that is the blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's gonna die. So what the fuck? You gonna be happy because you had life with them, or you're gonna be happy, or you're gonna be sad because they died? You
And
happy because
with
you had
that,
life.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, that's really it. Like, you know, I feel like, yeah. Oh, somebody asked, what's the wildest celeb episode? We gotta remember that one. Okay, you next first though.
Well, all I was going to say, it's worth repeating what my daughter says, which is that she's glad she doesn't know as many people as me, because she's seen through this COVID how many people I have lost, which is, it's unfathomable in a year. But as I tell her, I would take that because I also have more love. And even in this COVID year, I've gained more love and given more love. Like there's a whole thing that's happened. So
Yeah.
I would take the punches, that come with the love. So
Right. I'm with you, sister.
um
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Like, I would take all of it. Like, I'm lucky. I'm blessed. Like, even though I ain't got no job, I got food in my refrigerator.
mhm, mhm.
I ain't hungry. I still got a fat ass.
It ain't going nowhere.
Where, where? Okay, so the worst, wildest celebrity episode.
A wild celebrity episode. Huh. I don't know if I really have a wild celebrity episode.
I have a fun celebrity episode. Like, so Cuba Gooding Jr. one time came to Funkbox. And when he came, he was like, he came to the door and he was like, I just don't want anybody to take any pictures. Like, he was like, thank you for letting me, whatever. He was very gracious. He kissed my hand, the whole thing, whatever. So then he's like, I don't.
Really, that was pre-COVID.
I was like, don't
Kiss
worry.
a hand.
Yeah, I was like, don't worry. Nobody's going to bother you. Go, go, go. Before the end of the night, he was doing windmills with Jesus. He was taking pictures with Yaya. He was like, come on, everybody, let's go. And that just brought me so much joy that somebody could feel that. I mean, there's plenty of other celebrity episodes that I can talk about, but that was one of the fun ones to see that happen, because what it showed me was like the power of our house music community, right, and how we are, that anybody could be there and it doesn't matter who they are, that they could still come and have the time of their lives and really be free.
Well, see, that's house. That's house right there. That's house.
Yeah,
that's exactly that. Mike Marquez wants to know, when we were talking about the DJs and what we look for when we're booking them, he asked, we've seen anyone on Twitch that has shown us those qualities. Mike, for me, I've seen quite a few people, because I don't just stay in the box with the people I know. When Twitch recommends somebody or says go check somebody out, I actually do it. So sometimes I'm here listening to somebody that nobody I know is paying attention to.
Right.
And to name just one, only because I remember her name, Sarabi is her name, and she's gonna play House in the House. And I don't know Sarabi, but I've listened to Sarabi for weeks now, and I've talked to Sarabi, and I'm gonna have her come and play. She's got her own stuff she does on her channel. And there's a couple of other people, as a young lady from London that I'm in touch with, and I'm gonna try to have her play as well. And yeah.
I've just started getting into like the whole looking at a bunch of people's Twitches, because like for me, it's more like a bit of the learning curve also of trying to get my stream to be better, right? So there's a lot of things that I love about Twitch with regard to being able to support other artists. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I built my whole career, is by supporting other artists. So I really have been trying to like, spend some time on doing more of that, and yeah, I'm like, it didn't, even when we were in real life, like when we went to Winter Music Conference, yeah, I would go to all the regular parties, but I was going to all the irregular parties too.
Right.
Why? Because I want to hear that different shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear the same songs. I don't want to
I can hear you in New York.
Yeah, and I want to be around different people also. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much to this world. It's not this little box. We need to spread our wings and spread our arms globally.
Well, it's, for some reason, that's much easier said than done for people, for us there's a reason, a necessity, or whatever. And I feel like sometimes for the party goers, depending on which party, also,
Yeah.
um, it's not always that easy. But
No, no, it's not always that easy.
some parties are cults. I said it again. We know it. Love you guys. I'm in the cult. Don't get it wrong.
Make sure that you know that both Red and I do graciously accept donations, because neither of us has a job. All right.
And this isn't free. Zoom is not free.
No, all this streaming stuff, we definitely pay for
Thing
it.
that makes us be able to come on to Twitches and the Instagrams. But anyway, I'm just saying it's not.
No, but I just wanted to say it, and you don't have to, because we do it because we love to do it. But really, if you can, it is appreciated. Sincerely, more than anything, it is appreciated. And I
It's
just
the holidays, guys.
all right, I'm done with that PSA.
Okay, moving right along.
All right, Red, why don't you tell us what you have coming up? Oh,
What I have coming. Oh, actually, hold on, so I can make sure I say all the names. This Friday, I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story for those who don't know. Mother Bird, if you don't know, she's a house mother of house for me. She is my good friend, and she was talking to me about an organization that she volunteers for. And there's some video and things of her and them on Christmas. They gave out so much food, and they gave out gifts, and they gave out,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
It's called Treehouse Cares. And so in talking with her and talking with our Friday night crew, what's up, Zoomies? Woo woo. I was inspired to do a New Year's Day rather than a New Year's Eve something, a New Year's Day marathon that's going to start at 12 p.m. on my Twitch right here, guys. And it's going to be Will Milton, Serge Negri, Jihad Muhammad, Peng Lo, Con Queso, and Lil Ray. And it's also going to be a fundraiser for Treehouse Cares. And so I thought it would be cool to do something for organization that somebody I know is involved with and also doing good things. So that's this. And then next week, guys, we won't be doing a bedtime stories. We should be back the week after that. We'll be back with Soul Summit Part 2 because me and Cynthia get a vacation too. So we're going to take a little break. And from there, we'll be back the following Tuesday, and then I'll be back on my Fridays with House in the House.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I got going on.
One thing, real quick. So the House in the House on the following Friday will be DJ Whiteout's 50th birthday shindig.
Oh man!
I'm giving him the run of the party. He's choosing the guests. He's doing whatever. I'll be in the background having cocktails, talking shit, and so that's that. All right, go. What you got? What you got?
I love that. I'm trying to get my calendar up because there's things on it. Okay, so I know for a fact that Sunday I have Funkbox.
Okay.
Coming Sunday on the Funkbox IG, we have Rich Medina starting off from 9 to 10 on Funkbox NYC on IG, and then after that, immediately after that, we go to DJ Tony Touch on IG and Zoom, and we'll have Tony Touch. So we'll have those two brothers on Sunday. And I also have a bunch of other stuff coming up. With Rich Medina, I want you guys to know that he has 15% off on his entire website right now.
Okay.
And it's going to for a few, I think it's going to the end of the year.
Didn't Rich have a code that was light-skinned?
He did in the past. Go on right now for this promo. It's actually just go on there and you're going to get a discount no matter what. It's site-wide. Whatever you find on there, you can get a discount. And there's some dope stuff, and I have some in my house, but I ain't finna pull shit out. How about that?
Okay.
So, and then for New Year's, we will be taking the first New Year's Tuesday off. And I will definitely be joining Red on her streams, and I suggest you do as well. And I'll be joining lots of other folks on my streams. And if you can, please follow me on my Twitch channel, because I also host a bunch of different DJs on my Twitch channel.
I've started doing
As
that.
they're playing. So you can come on my Twitch channel at any time and I'll be hosting somebody. So please follow me.
I have started doing the same. Mr. Des Uno has another question that I actually do want to address. And it is for me. Did I enjoy doing the water taxi beach at South Street Seaport? The answer, Des, is yes. That was one of my most successful, myself and Joanne Jimenez, that was one of our most successful events. It came from a phone call from a stranger that said, I'd love to have a meeting with you. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So absolutely, Des, and yeah, it was great. And every single thing about that party was illegal. We weren't supposed to be on the seaport. We weren't supposed to be at that place. We definitely weren't supposed to be on the pier. And we'd be there with like 300-400 people every week, and it was nuts, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like
Sin, I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's one of my every week questions.
Oh shit.
So it'll be for both of us.
Right.
So what's your guilty pleasure right now?
My guilty pleasure right now is Nespresso freaking coffee. I have this freaking Nespresso machine that my boss Freddie bought for me last Christmas. And it's like you go, I think you've had this coffee before from my house, maybe.
It's quite possible.
But it's like you
I don't remember everything from your house.
boop, boop, and that's it. And it's like a perfect cup of coffee. So I am more of a caffeine addict than I ever was. Like I just spent $50 in coffee the other day because I was just like, I gotta have more coffee.
Okay. It's very Latin of you. Very, very Latin.
I am very Latin.
I'm not mad at that. Well, I mean, my guilty pleasure right now is wine.
Okay, wine.
You know, because I could not drink wine. It gave me a headache. And then I discovered that they make drops. They've developed drops that you put into the wine, and it removes the sulfites, which is what gives you the headaches.
Oh, I need this. I'm allergic to sulfur. And I love wine. Oh girl.
This is called
Wine
Magic. It's on Amazon. I'll send it to you, girl.
Oh, yes, you know I need the link. I'm
I'll
gonna
send
try
you the
that.
link.
I love wine.
You put it into, you put a few, you can put 1 drop into a cup of wine, a glass of wine, or you can put 5 drops into a 750 milliliter bottle. Swish it around, drink. That's all you have to do. And it takes the sulfites away. So I've been drinking wine. And now when I walk into the liquor store where it was just like, you can have this. It's like, oh my gosh, it's opened up a whole new door. So I am now learning about the different wines, the types of wines, why
I want to know
matters.
Like the Malbec. Did you like the Malbec?
Okay, so the Malbec was okay. It worked out really well in my spaghetti sauce. As I asked Cynthia what was a good red wine that I could drink and put into my pasta sauce. But for me, I did not love it. I mean, I drank it. But...
Sony, don't worry. I'll send you the link when Red sends it to me. She's like, Red, show us again.
I got you, Tony girl. I got you. But I have found some others like this one I'm drinking right now. I'm drinking Barefoot Sweet Red Blend. It's not a dark, it's not bitter, it's very...
But you like sweet. See, that's why. The Malbec is not, I don't like sweet.
Not super sweet. It's just mellow. It's very, very nice on the tongue.
Okay.
So, that's happening.
I want to know. I came on thinking like I was gonna ask you all these shady questions, but I don't really want to do all of that.
Well, it's funny because I have 2 questions left that I had on my list, and one of them is what's the shadiest story that you could share?
Oh man.
You brought up the word shady. I wasn't gonna do it.
Oh, there's lots of shady stuff that I could share. I just try not to live in shade. I try to live in the
Like your
light.
eyes see things.
Can I live in the light?
I didn't say it involved you.
I know, but if I start doing the shade, then I'm gonna be in the shade, honey.
Oh, well, don't get shady. Not for the new
Okay.
year. Not for the new year. Not for the new year.
Not for the new year.
I'll give you an easier one that could. I'm gonna give you an easier question that could possibly involve shade.
Okay.
What that you can think of and or remember is one of the best times you have had with me.
Oh man. I've had a lot of good times with you, girl.
I know it.
Okay. I'll just say one night, Red and I stayed up until the wee hours of the morning in my house listening to Boris,
Oh my God.
the Monkey King.
That's real good. That is real good. Okay. Say no more.
Okay, that was a blast. Like, hey.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
What about you? I want to know.
I think one of the best times I had outside of our private times when we're in a house, it would be when I met up with you and we went together to Output for
Oh, we did club hopping.
no, we went to the friend's house that lived near Output first.
Oh, Sonia.
And
Friend.
Where did we go? Why were we at Output?
We went to Output for
it was the
Funk Box.
No, it wasn't Funk Box. It was, what do you call the Rich, Tony, D Nice.
Originals.
Thank you. And we had a ball. You may not remember it all because we went to your friends first.
Right.
Drinks in the back pockets and all kinds of
shenanigans. Okay, I do remember going to her house.
And we had a ball. We had a ball at that party. The party was pumping. So
I said I remember going to her house and scene. And scene.
So that happened. So
man, all right. So
that's the end of my questions. Do you have any more?
I always have questions I can pull up out of the sky, but I think that I really just want to send some love to everybody in here and thank you all so much for your support of Bedtime Stories over this year, for your support of Red and myself over this year. And I want to just send everybody some positive energy and tell everybody to have a happy new year. And just remember that we only have today and we only have this moment. So please make the most of it. Make the most of you can. Each moment is so precious. Tell somebody that you love them. And I certainly love you. And that's it.
I'm gonna say what I always say, not to take away from the mood, but everybody, could you please stay home and watch out for dummies because they're everywhere. And it's nuts out there, so be careful. And Ali Coleman just said that I have a goblet, and Ali Coleman, really quickly, this came from when Spike Lee did his first Prince party at in Brooklyn.
Restoration.
It was a VIP, and I ended up with one of these, and I went and I asked Spike Lee if he could ask the MC to stop talking so much so we could hear the music, and he said, yeah, he was like, like, what?
Yeah, who sent you? Brooklyn. No.
But I have this lovely commemorative goblet. And Des Uno, where do I shop for music? I don't, because when I decided that I was going to play some stuff and do some stuff, Des, I put in my music and I put it into the computer and the tractor and all this, and I had 6,000 songs. So I'm not buying any music because I have 6,000 songs. which
And
I
she got
probably
mad
know
friends
1,000
to
of them,
and she got mad friends to send her
which
music.
is why I have 6,000 songs that I didn't know I had.
Right.
So,
Well,
what do you want to say?
I'll take
So,
it.
but I do want to thank. I want to thank everybody that is listening, all the people that tune in every week. Des Uno, with your stream of questions, you are appreciated every week. You know, everyone that has shared it, everyone that has given us compliments, because it matters, so that we know that you are listening, and you may not be here live, but you come at us after and let us know how much this, how much you like this. And that means a lot, you know. So it means we're not doing it for nothing and in vain.
Absolutely.
And
go subscribe to our YouTube channel, damn it.
subscribe to our, we've got like 5 new videos we need to put up with Carlos Sanchez and Ejo and Serge and Soul Summit. So we'll be adding those new videos.
Yeah, and Joey Llanos, and we got
Joey Llanos and Doug Sherman from the Law. So we're going to be uploading all of those to our YouTube channel, which is Sin Rose and REDness's Bedtime Stories on YouTube. We'll share the link. And, you know, thanks, guys. And, you know, people keep talking about 2021. I'm nervous about hoping. I haven't given up hope. I'm just nervous about putting any kind of eggs in any kind of basket. I'm just taking the eggs I have and holding on to them and making sure they don't crack.
Yeah.
You know, but everybody be careful. Have a great New Year. Please join me on New Year's Day for a good cause and also great music. And yeah.
And on that note, it sounds like Red's about to sing.
Oh, it's bedtime.
See? You see, I knew it.
Time for you and me. Time for us to see. It's bedtime. I'm available for jazz club gigs, record label recordings, whatever it is you need, people. Bedtime.
I don't know where I got that little boop boop dance.
But it's real cute. That could really work out. That could go into our recording. And you know, so I think we're signing off. Are we signing off?
I think we're signing off.
Okay.
I love you guys. Thank you. Have a happy new year. Stay safe, everyone.
And who are you?
Oh, I'm Sin Rose.
And I'm Red. And this has been our special
bedtime.
This has been our very special episode of Bedtime Stories featuring us. And so thanks, guys. And stay safe, for real, for real.
Good
and
night.
good night.
Good night.